Welcome, everyone, to Motor City Aquatics with your most favorite, I would say, YouTube, professional. But how is everyone doing on this incredible Saturday? Hopefully, everyone is doing very well. We are doing pretty well here ourselves. Looking forward to streaming tonight, and very glad that we are here and nothing got in the way. We got our work done for the day. Even though we worked in Ohio, we were able to get back in time and get here for you. So, we didn't have anything in our way. Hopefully everyone's weather is doing real good. And no one's suffering any terrible storms or anything right now. I'm not big on hats and stuff, but yeah, we got back. Oh, I don't know. Was it 9 o'clock? We did pretty good today. I think we got back in town like 5:15, started at 10 a.m. So here we are. And today I wanted to talk about, a lot of things we could talk about, anything anybody wants to talk about. But I wanted to bring up about why I notice a lot of people why they categorize, why I see a lot of people categorize Neocaridina shrimp, no matter what the color is, they call them cherry shrimp. And I've noticed this in a lot of YouTube channels that I've been watching lately. Not new channels, but a lot of channels that I watch. But excuse me, let's say it's it's a store and they get in shrimp, and I noticed that I'm watching it when they get it in, and I noticed that they call there could be yellow or orange shrimp, and they call them cherry shrimp. They say, "Oh." Excuse me, I have a bad cough today. My allergies are just crazy. They say, "Oh, look, we got a cherry shrimp in today, to add to the tanks." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, those aren't cherry shrimp. They're either yellow shrimp or orange, shrimp, or now, is it that huge of a deal? I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it may become a big deal to someone who's getting into the hobby or doesn't know the difference between the shrimp. I mean, classifying them under a certain name as cherry shrimp, that's just a name due to the color of a shrimp. It's not due to what the scientific name of the shrimp are. Blue dream shrimp, you guys never hear me call a shrimp on my channel. You never hear me call like any Neocaridina shrimp a cherry shrimp unless it's a cherry shrimp. Fish and Tank Ticks, welcome. What up? You just never do. I mean, I would never say a blue dream. Hey, look at these cherry shrimp, and I have a tank of 300 blue dream. I mean, people that are within the shrimp hobby, even more or less, let's say people within the nano hobby, more, but I think within all the hobby would kind of look at me, questioningly, what did he just say? Due to the fact that, they're not, cherry shrimp. They're blue dreams. They're blue. I mean, even if anything, oh my gosh, call them by the color. Don't call, green shrimp, emerald shrimp, don't call those cherry shrimp. I just don't. It's the furthest thing from trying to explain to someone who wants to get into shrimp or add them to something. They just don't they don't have the right information on what to get, and it's like so many of us out here keep shrimp and work so hard on producing the highest in coloring, you know just so when they breed all the same, like you try to get rid of females or males that produce a lighter color than you're used to. You want to, it just depends on what you're going for. Anyways, for you to work so hard on something to get it to a certain color and somebody calls it a cherry shrimp, you're like, oh, now you've just all your work has just gone out the door because you've been put on a shelf at a certain color. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but just for people to know, the Davy shrimp, it's really hard for me to Davidi, it just depends. It's spelled Davidi. And it's the original colors of the shrimp, like when they would find them in the streams and the waterways that they're in, they're like a greenish brown. We've all seen shrimp that that they call like, let's say you're breeding shrimp and even cherry shrimp, or here's the biggest thing. If you start mixing shrimp, let's say you put blues, oranges, greens, yellows, reds, all in a tank. Let's say you got 20 of them in there and you just start breeding, where you're going to start to throw the original color. Only because it took that original color to make the colors, the morphs that are out now. It's not like people took all this magical stuff and put it together with shrimp and made red. I mean, it came out red one day, and so they started to call these colors that came out, and that's how they built on it. But they always revert. If you have these mixed, if you mix your shrimp, I don't think I've ever had a certain color of whatever, any color. Even when I had the wild Ketagolons, holy crap, that's I can't forget or believe that I remembered those. Those were a wild species in itself. They're blue, green, and they're really pretty. And I'm sure I could get them if I asked my buddy that was breeding them. I don't know if he has them anymore, but they're like on the list. You can't even import them. They're like really hard, to get. But other than that, when you have a shrimp that has reds and blues and greens and yellows in it, and it's the original shrimp, well, that's where it would all come from. But I've never had a tank, a blue shrimp, because this far along in the game, you have, these shrimp have been bred for so long that, if you have a tank of blue shrimp and they're a high quality, or not high quality, but they're a good quality shrimp, chances of you throwing wild shrimp are slim to none. I don't think I've ever thrown a wild shrimp out of just a basic color, so whatever color you choose. Not big enough. It's never thrown, if you have cherries, blues, greens, yellows, nothing. Now, I think with like yellows, I've thrown some clearer ones. I don't want to call reds low grade, but cherry shrimp low grade, but there's a lot of steps to a lot of colors. I should say to all the shrimp colors. There's a lot of colors. Chevy Fish, welcome. Atkins Nature Aquariums, welcome. What's that orange shrimp? Must be saltwater. Yeah. Yeah. But it's I would say all of the Neocaridina have different stages of color to it. Now, not meaning, I should say, think of this. It's kind of like not so much today, but back in the day when you could get a Mustang, let's say, 65 Mustang, you can get it candy apple red, you can get it in brick red, you can get, there was, so many colors. Well, it's kind of like shrimp are, because you have the basic cherry red, the cherry shrimp are kind of clear. The females are darker than the males, but the males, like they'll have, it looks barely any red to them. And the really low grade ones that you don't want to use, like almost have no red to them. I don't care what it is, but you don't want to use those so much because the babies won't come out, as red as they can be. So as you go along the way, you want to, get rid of, the males that don't have enough. Now, here's the thing. Now, once you start to get your colors, you can breed for a certain depth of color, the darkness, if you want to be able to see through it. And it all comes down to, then you have, color on the shell. Then you have color in the meat of the shrimp. And, a lot of things change. From fire red shrimp that, you couldn't see through with anything down to, a basic cherry shrimp that are almost clear. And then there's a lot of different kinds, when it comes to at least cherry shrimp. It's, how dark if their meat's red or their shell's red or, vice versa. So it's a different type of red shrimp. You can go on for, a long time explaining this. It just comes down to what color you want and the temperature of that color you want. Like blue, you have, there's so many blue, and there's a lot of morphs that are thrown out there too. So let's say you have blue dreams, like we have hundreds that are for sale. If you have every once in a blue moon, you can get let's say a blue with a clear spot or dark tail or something like that. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with that shrimp, but if you want spotless shrimp, you're going to want to remove that shrimp. Maybe put it in another tank, to live over there. If you're looking to have a, like a class of shrimp with no blemishes, let's say. So you'll pull that shrimp out. But then you could get ones with black spots on them. And ones that come out real black, and like shiny. They'll start calling them, they have the name of blue diamonds. There's a lot of names out there for shrimp. You could have two different types of shrimp, and people call these a blue diamond and these a blue diamond. When I got into shrimp, we were getting them, you'd import them in from where all the names came from. And you'd have these high-end shrimp that look beautiful. And then Jimmy Joe Bob comes up with a name and calls it the same thing, and he's slinging shrimp. I've had people, when I would take my shrimp up to the store, guys would come in. This one guy all the time would come up to my buddy's store off the streets and be like, oh, yeah, hey, I got these orange Neocaridina, and he'd bring them in and not tell the guy who I was, and I would look at them, and and my buddy would walk away. So I would just start talking to him like I was just some, customer. I'd be like, "Hey man, wow, these are cool. What are these, original, or these mixed?" And "Oh yeah, I got shrimp all mixed up together. So, they look orange. So I just pull them out, bring them up here and sell them to him." So then when, he sells them, now if my buddy would put them out as orange shrimp or, any kind of name this guy put on it, next thing you know, they would have different colored shrimp. They wouldn't come out orange and they'd be all jacked up, So Vibes Aquatics, welcome, welcome, welcome. And yes, please don't forget to hit that like button, thumbs up, and subscribe. We are close. For anyone that wasn't here, I'll give him a shout out. Last week, I went on Sunday, not Saturday, because I had to miss Saturday. So I went on Sunday, didn't know that Danikin was on. And when he shut his stream down, he sent a bunch folks over, and they came over and got me even closer to 1,000. So I think I gained 10 more subscriptions. So I'm at like 971, I think. So we're really close. I mean, we're close. So, it'd be great to get it before Christmas, but if not, no big deal. Getting the boys to bed. Yeah, shoot. Let's say Saturday. I ain't getting Luke to bed anytime soon. We just got him that new, they don't call it the Oculus 3. It's the Meta Quest 3. We just got him that from the 2. So he's got a broke leg, and, he's up in his room. He just got a second cast. We had the first cast on. He did 2 weeks in his low temp cast. Then he went in when the swelling was down. They put a cast on him. And we just went this past Thursday, and the doc x-rayed it and everything. And it's starting to heal, but he just put him in a new cast, but it's below the knee down now. And he said 3 weeks in that, then bring him in. And he said then he might put him in a walking cast or something. But, the fracture was so bad in his tibia that, it's going to take some time for it to heal. Holy crap, Big Tank Hank, what up, what up? Good to see you, good to see you. Still pumping iron. Nice to see you. So back to the shrimp. So a lot of people can call shrimp something that it ain't. And, it can make for a really bad day for someone buying shrimp. So if I could give you any advice, try to always buy your shrimp from someone or who's been breeding them, or you can verify that has a, like a certain color only tank, and they don't have a mixed tank. Now, if you don't mind mixed colors, mixed colors are great. If just my advice, if you do mixed colors and you get culls of the original color, take it out. Because you'll start to breed those. They'll start to probably take over more than your colored shrimp. So, because it's where they started from. So, but here's the thing, some do come out clear, but the Catagolons are way better looking. Beautiful shrimp compared to, even though they're almost identical to the original color, just the Davy dye that, they can look pretty boring. So, but if you do not care, and just having the shrimp alone in your tank is exciting to you, then don't even worry about it. Don't pull it out. Just leave it all in there. Yeah, it happens in saltwater too. Okay, thanks, Vibes. Thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Just getting into saltwater. We've been doing it 5-6 months now. We're newbies at it. I don't know I go into the store and I'm like, hey, that's cool. I don't ask. I'm just like, what's it need? What type of flow does it like? Like now we have one of the pumps. Here's the other one. I took it out today. This is the one I use on my freshwater tanks. So this is I showed this before, but for people who don't know, it's a wave maker, the Jabeo. This is MLW 20. That over there is a 10 in the saltwater tank. This is it's pretty big. I mean, I have big hands and I don't know. It's I don't know, probably at least 5 inches round. But these things are pretty gangster. It doesn't have a timer. You got to turn it. I mean, you could turn it on, run it. At least I don't think it does. But excuse me. Really easy. I was in an attic today in a daycare running electrical. I was in a lot of insulation. So, but you could clean them real easy. The front, you just turn it, comes off, and then the fan inside just comes off. The blades and the magnet is kind of in the fat part of it. The outside of it. So it's super simple. It's a great product. I love them a lot. They work great. The magnets you could angle it and stuff, and they're really powerful for smaller tanks. And what I use this for is the Pleco tank and stuff. And like today was water change day. Did big water changes. I did like a 60% in the Pleco tank. They just had another set of babies. And then I did I took out of the 60 breeder. I took 40 to. Oh, wait, I took 25 gallons out of the 60 with CPDs. Because here's the thing. I almost don't feed the CPDs anything but live baby brine. I actually have my Fiji bottle, my expensive hatchery up there. Here, I'll show you guys. It's so expensive. That's crazy. Look how expensive that is. I got some chain, like 3 cents a chain, some airline going to it. That thing is like, if anyone wants to buy one, I got them. They're like $45. It's the highest end baby brine strip hatchery. It's been tested over thousands of hours hatching baby brine. And I wasn't going to sell them, but anyone who would like one, $45 plus shipping and handling. It won't come with the Fiji water in it because it's one of the most expensive waters you could buy. So I'm going to empty that out and I'll drink that, but I'll sell you one if you need it. But saltwater is, I don't know anything about saltwater. Love our tank, have a ton of stuff in there, but there's so many names out there, frags, this, that, and the other. I mean, when they say frags, I think of Fraggle Rock, and it just throws me off. So I really don't care. Saltwater is just so mesmerizing. It's so beautiful. I really don't care what the names are of all the little corals and stuff that I have. It's just incredibly beautiful. Another thing I want to put out there is last week I was talking about my saltwater tank and about how my what are those bubble tip anemones were splitting. And somebody had brought up saying that they're not a pro, but they've heard that if bubble tip splits that they could be unhappy. And I said, well, I was told bubble tips do split. Well, so, again, like I said, I don't really know much about saltwater learning as I am about everything. If somebody told me something about fresh water, I would do my homework on it. It's just how it is. But I looked it up because I was told by someone who's been doing it for almost 30 years, this is why it happens. Well, somebody said this could be why it happened. So when I looked it up and did my homework on it, it said that a bubble tip can split if it's, unhappy, irritated, stuff like that. So if you got bad water and everything, I mean, it can happen. But it also said a bubble tip will split when it reaches maturity. It's just, it's in a good mood, all this stuff. Because I was always told that, when they split, you get more, and they're like, you can bring them in and sell them and blah, blah, blah. So that's why we started off at like, I don't know, three or four. And now we have 7 or 8. So they're doing their thing. But they had stayed small, they were staying smaller. So I was like, what have I done differently? So some people brought up also, hey, when in doubt, whip it. Water change, water change. So I was like, okay, correct. But just for the heck of it, I wanted to see what was off before I did that water change. If anything was off, nothing was off that I could see from my tests. So, but that doesn't mean that something might not have died or, just whatever. I don't know saltwater that good. And, I don't think I've ever seen anyone go, yeah, I haven't changed water in 6 months in my saltwater tank. It's like everyone says, oh, it's water change every week or water change every 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, whatever I'm doing, let's do the water change. So I do the water change. I think I did 10 gallons. And then I was like, well, what else did I do? Well, I turned my pump down. So I cranked my pump back up from 30 because that's the lowest it'll go. I put it at like 70, and then everything started to like get bigger and open up, and they're enjoying it. And then I put it to 100, and now I just leave it at 100, and everything's just, it loves it. So I was told from the beginning, the more flow that I could put in there, the better. Don't blow it right on them, but moving the water around, they really, really love it. If you don't have things that don't love it. And Fish Tropic, what up? That was a lot of issues that I ran into when I first got the saltwater tank, because I'm not saying people in the stores are not going to tell you, but here's the thing is if you don't break it down exactly what you have or exactly what your idea is or exactly what you're going to do, is it wrong if they don't like sit for 45 minutes and tell you what this thing likes and what it doesn't like? They say, yeah, it doesn't like a lot of flow, and you have it in a 40-gallon cube, and you have flow in there, and you're like, and then it dies, and you're like, whose fault is that? Had a lot of flow. He should have told me. Well, he did tell you, and then, it's like certain fish that like still water, even though the water's moving around, they have an area where they can go like hide and hang out and just swim around, and it doesn't tire them out, and it's not real, like an ocean type deal. There's a lot of things to learn. You can't just go, oh my God, it's a beautiful fish. You got to go, well, could it get eaten by another one? Of course, just like freshwater. Could it get beat up by other ones? But one of the biggest things is flow. Is it strong enough to hang out in this flow? The clownfish, you can put anything in there. Them fish don't care about nothing. They just love it, So, there was a lot to learn about that. So not only just names, but, there's a lot to learn when it comes to saltwater. But here's the thing is, since the start of us doing this, I've never come to a point and said, oh my God, this sucks. I want to stop. Not once have I come to that point. Just like freshwater. It's just all I tell myself is like, look, you got to learn. You got to pay attention. You got to learn. You got to ask for help. You got to learn. Because just sitting around and thinking it's a freshwater tank, you're just going to chuck stuff in it and it's going to do good. Not so much. But it's just like a freshwater tank. You think you're going to chuck stuff in it and it's going to do good. Not so much. If you don't know what you're doing, just like with salt, and you just throw a tank together, which that's what pet stores love about people and their lack of knowledge, let's say. is because they'll be back in 2 days saying everything died. I need more. My kid's crying and they won't stop. Or, oh my gosh, I just paid all this money for all this stuff. It's all dead. And I'm not, gonna do it. I need more fish. So it comes down to that too, but back to shrimp. Here's the thing. I've come, full circle from day one, starting with shrimp all the way, let's call it today. I don't think that I could give more information on how simple, literally simple. I do nothing to this stuff. Nothing. I haven't done a water change in these Caridina tanks. I don't 6 months. All I do is top it off with RO water. If the TDS is too high, I just top off with RO water. If it was too low, excuse me, I would be doing a water change and putting fresh mineralized water in there. But this was the thing. When I started, water changes, remineralized water every time, remineralized water, and you're blowing through this stuff. It's, you buy these big bottles in here. Holler at Robbie. You buy these bottles, $25, $30, whatever. And, as a beginner, I mean, it was like you're playing scientist, you're wanting to see how much you can mix, what it takes, how much it takes to fill up to mix a 5-gallon bucket, blah, 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 this and that. But then, over long periods of time, because a freshwater tank, no, but the Caridina tank that you should be using RO water and remineralizing. Everyone and their mother out there says, hey, you need to do water changes, remineralize this water, take water out, put new remineralized water in there every week, 10%, whatever. And it's not only the people in the store that's a salesman, but it's people here, there, and the other. I'm sure that I've said stuff that was totally wrong. Who knows how many times since I've started with shrimp. Okay. Now I'm going to give you the 100% truth right now. Caridina shrimp need nothing. I mean, yeah, you put the substrate in it, remineralize the water. But here's the biggest thing when it comes to tanks. The biggest thing that I can give you for the secrets. Here's the secret that no one tells you. No one tells you this, and I'm going to tell you. So listen, and you could tell your friends. I won't get mad if you go around and tell everybody and be like, hey, they stole it. Look, I'm giving you the info. Okay? Here's the secret. Leave it alone. I don't care what anybody says. Remineralize your water. And at least with me, I mean, I'm living proof. I don't do anything but replace what evaporates. If I take my TDS, and look, for everyone who doesn't know that may be getting into Caridina, it's 120. 120 should be your TDS. 100, it depends. I don't even think it depends. Some shrimp are just more sensitive, which is, let's say out of 20 shrimp, there might be 1 to 2 types of Caridina shrimp that are more sensitive. Still, probably slim to none. But you take your TDS meter, it's calibrated if you calibrated it. If not, you can get some liquid. If not, you can go to your pet store. They should have it. Not a Petco and Pets R Us and Pet Your Pit Bull. None of that crap. Go to a mom and pops. Always support the mom and pops pet stores. Don't look, go there to get your 50% off fish tanks. Nothing else when it comes to fish. Maybe other stuff, dogs and this and that, dog food, blah, blah, blah. grooming. Don't go there for aquatics. I mean, they're stepping in an area where they shouldn't step in, and it's just like, you know, it's kind of, like a burger joint in your town. And then you get, all these other big burger places opening up with these people you see on TV coming in and, oh, their stuff is great. Their food tastes great and a movie star owns it. Who cares? It's shutting down the people down the street. Anyways, go to the store, I think I paid, I don't know. Oh, it's less than $20, $15. But anyways, you put it in and hit it. 163. All right, it's 163. The tank needs a top off. I am not going to take out water and remineralize water to put it in there, because here's the thing. It's 163. So what do I want to do? I want to replace every time RO until that TDS comes down, to the 120 area, 120, 130. You get it down around there, then, you could do your water change and remineralize. But here's the thing. We all know, and if you don't know, you're going to find out, when water evaporates, you do not lose your minerals. The minerals are in there. They're in there. The only way you lose the minerals is when you do a water change. So if you start your tank out at 120 and you put it in there, put it all together, and over time, you're feeding, you're putting Indian almond leaves in there. You're putting whatever in there, food, you feed different types of food. If you put prime in there, holy Christ, anything, all 92 products everyone sells that says, hey, this is what your shrimp wants. Hey, this is what your shrimp needs. Hey, this is what your shrimp wants. Hey, your shrimp can't live without this. Your shrimp can't swim without this. They can't do the backstroke without this. This makes their colors darker. This makes their colors lighter. This will make sure that they don't die. This keeps them healthy. This keeps them strong. This hardens their shell. This does this. This does this. This. It's like, how do you know? You don't know. You're just trying to sell me, a bunch of crap. Best thing to do, look, if they come out of freshwater, put them in freshwater. That's it. But the biggest thing, the secret that I wanted to tell you is for you to have the best luck with shrimp, because they are sensitive, but it doesn't mean they're going to die. You just might not have the positive response that you're looking for out of the shrimp right away, even within the first 4 to 6 months, if you're starting out with a brand new tank that's new. Even if you squeeze bacteria in there, put a dirty filter, all this stuff, you're probably not going to get what you're looking for. Now you see people on YouTube that have streams and, they'll have shrimp and then they have baby shrimp. And, there's a good chance that they went and got those shrimp out of an old dirty tank and put them in a super clean tank. It's all video stuff. They want things to look good. But I've been doing this a long time. For one, both sets of shrimp do not like a super clean tank. They won't die, but chances of them breeding right away are slim. They don't respond well. If they can't eat, it's kind of like a snail. Snails reproduce by the bazillions if there's enough food in there. If there's enough food in a tank, you always know when you're overfeeding, because you look all over the glass and there's snails everywhere. There's the eggs are laid everywhere, all over the place. You're like, what's going on? That's a telltale sign. You're feeding way too much. Well, with shrimp, it's kind of the same way, I've learned. If they have enough food, not you feeding them, but if they have enough food, which is bacteria, biofilm, lots of biofilm, everything in the tank. If they have enough food to where they can graze all day, that like triggers them and lets them know, hey, we're here. We're at the spot where we can eat for a long time. Our babies will live. And that's when they'll start to have, when they'll start to get buried and stuff. And you figure it doesn't take a ton. You don't have to pack your tanks. I've learned the more garbage in your tank, the worse off it is. For one, you don't see them. And here's the other thing. Here's the biggest thing in the world. If you're going to have a small amount of shrimp in a tank and you want to start off with 5 or 6, you want to have the least bit of stuff in there. Reason being, they can't find each other. If you have a 10-gallon tank, let's say a 20 long, and you have plants on each side, and you got a male over here and a female over here, and they're all into plants, and even if it's multiples, and the females are over here and the males are over here, who knows? But even if they're 3 inches apart, they can't see each other. No breeding. Now, the females give off a scent. You'll see in tanks where the shrimps are swimming around like this. But if it's full of plants, then it's hard for all that stuff to go around. So if you break the plants down, only have a couple, let plants grow in by themselves. Let them overpower your tank all by themselves. Don't overpower it yourself. Let the shrimp find each other. Let them become buddies early on. Let them know who's in there, and then all of a sudden, when your tank is to the point to where it is set, you'll start getting babies a lot. And then you're going to start to notice, all right, is it getting too cold? Things slowed up. People say, oh yeah, heat is great. Oh, my shrimp breathe so much. Yes, they do. But guess what? Heat also speeds up their metabolism and kills them quicker. So a shrimp is supposed to last like 2 years, right? Well, if you have them in hot heat, 80, somewhere around 78 to 82, oh my gosh, they'll pump babies out, but they die off faster. They grow too fast and they die off fast. I've had them, the bad thing I did years ago is, I put Sulawesi shrimp in there. Rabbit snails, as a lot of people know. Rabbit snails are Sulawesi shrimp. They come from Lake Sulawesi with Sulawesi. But anyways, that was another thing. Those things would die on me. I'm like, what the heck? I don't understand. And they're like, well, they need to be warm. That's why they're out of the same water as the Sulawesi shrimp. So like I have one rabbit snail down there and it's pumping out, they'll pump out a baby once a month. And I got 3 or 4 babies in there right now. But when you have them in the heat, they love it. When you run them like 70 degrees, 68, they last a long time. Look, they might not breed a bazillion, but you got people, how many shrimp can I get in 30 days? You don't know. It's a guess. No one knows. I mean, if your females are good, fine. If you have more females than you do males and they're not getting stressed out, you're going to do good. If the temperature's right, if this is right, if that's right. If not, it's just going to happen when it happens. Just like everything else, But the thing is you can have it from a bare bottom tank like I have in here with the CPDs, the plecos. I mean, I have so many plecos and they just have so many babies in there. I have a filter, just cleaned my filters out today. I don't have sponges on them. Here's the thing. Plecos get sucked up there. Shrimp get sucked up there. But guess what? They don't die. They live in the filter. So they do nothing but get fat and sassy. So today I pull it all out, put it in a bucket immediately. Then I go to the sink. I take it all out. I rinse it out nice and neat. Anything that's in there, I just scoop it back out, put it back in the tank. The stuff doesn't die. They probably freaking it's like going to the bar or something back in the 90s. If they could tell everybody, hey, go up the tube, everything's in there to eat, but it's you literally just need nothing. Not if it's a Neocaridina or a Caridina, you need nothing but a seasoned tank for best results, for your shrimp to live forever, for them not to die of the infection with the pinkness in their head, for them to have super strong shells, for them, just to be to eat. They're not starving. The babies aren't dying. The adults aren't dying. You need a tank, a very well seasoned tank, and a moss of some sort. Now think of this. Moss, you look at it and you're like, ooh, it's small. But do you see how small a shrimp's little nippers are, the feeders? They're almost, you can't see them barely with the eyeball. You can't see them, but you got to stare at it. So they just sit there all day and they're just cleaning those leaves. And the leaves, you go, wow, they're small. But how big is a leaf to a shrimp size? That was the hardest part when I got into shrimp. I was like, oh, they need food. Rah! And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I learned just, above their head is their stomach. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm feeding for 10,000 shrimp. Of course, that is nowhere near what you need. Now, there are some things that they devour fast. You guys see that I feed a lot of French cut green beans. Okay. And then, of course, like I said before, people say, oh, how do you? Not to me, but I've seen people bring up in discussions and stuff, who would feed their shrimp green beans? You can't get green. Do green beans grow in a stream? Really? Does this grow in a stream? Does it? That's all I want to know. Does this grow in a stream? If the answer is no, then why would you feed a shrimp this? Plain and simple. If green beans grew in a stream, they would eat it. Because look, they eat all algae. What is green beans? It's a fleshy vegetable, a green fleshy vegetable. Algae, plants that are rotting in the rivers and streams and stuff like that. All this stuff, it's just another basic stuff like that. So they really, really enjoy it. And so I put green beans in here. You got to have the French cut. I even got a can the other day, wasn't paying attention. They're just green beans, cut green beans. So I was like, So, all right, I squeeze them and drop them in there. Do you know that they'll eat a little bit? The shrimp don't touch them. And the plecos, they look at me like I lost my mind. They're like, what is this trash? Well, I'm sorry, they're not sliced by the French and, given you so nicely soft and pre-cut, but there's a huge difference. They do not, you have to go 2-3 days without feeding them for them to devour. Now, if I put French cut green beans in all these tanks, they will do nothing but sit on it and smash it all day long. So, why would I not feed that? It's just, it's crazy. So the things that you watch that you put in the water that raise your TDS, they say, oh, well, you got to, do a water change because, the food, the poop, this, that, and the other. Well, okay. Well, shrimp are so itty bitty small. Their poop's even smaller. I don't know what to tell you. What happens? It breaks down. It goes down into the substrate and it helps feed your plants and stuff. Well, okay, well, that's good, you know. And if you have snails, they eat it, their poop breaks down, or they poop, then the shrimp eat their poop. It's like, it's just a poop fest. Everybody's eating everybody's crap. But, you know, all that stuff, it's kind of like Father Fish, how he does the super deep substrates. Everything rots, it goes to the bottom, makes your plants grow up great, everything. And then, you know, everything feeds on plants. It does this, it does that. So all this stuff that you have breaking down the tank makes the water like $1 million. Here's the thing. Well, I'll get to that in a second. So taking out that water all the time, like they say, oh, well, do a water change, but don't do too much because you could hurt the tank, because you can crash it, because you take out way too much of the good stuff and put in bad stuff, which is water with no good stuff in it, right? So that's the secret. You can get to a point where you don't even feed the shrimp, but maybe once a week, because the tanks are growing everything at such a high rate that the shrimp eat. Look, I run these lights. This is one shop light, a 4-foot shop light per 5 tanks. And I'll click this thing on at probably around noon, 1 o'clock. And I'll let it go all the way till 10 o'clock at night. None of my tanks, look at them. They're all clear as a bell. You guys can see them, clear as a bell. I don't get any algae buildup. Nothing. I mean, some, but guess what? I have a crew in there that loves it, destroys it. Now, if it starts to get out of hand, now here's the other thing. If your light's too strong, now see, I'm using 1 light for 5 tanks, not 5 lights for 5 tanks. So that would be overkill. I don't want to blighten this up so it's so bright. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, it's too much for my eyes. So 1 light, 5 tanks. And then up top, that has its own light, which is totally fine. They're bigger tanks. It's 60 gallons, you know. So, but leave the lights on. Let them, you know, eat off of all the natural stuff. Because if they're outside, the sunlight goes all day. And what's it do? Grows algae in the water. Grows, you know, everything they need. You know, biofilms like you wouldn't believe. So no one goes. Do you see any of these big food brand people running out to the streams and feeding the shrimp in the stream? Oh my gosh, they got to have this. You know, so-and-so that works for this big company said that they got to have light. Their color isn't as dark as, you know, color. Hold on, I'll be back. There it is. I don't know what that was. I guess, you know, Wi-Fi, no matter how good you have it, you know, dumps off every once in a while. I go through AT&T. I don't know why it did that, but hold on. Let me check. Oh, this might be it. No, I don't think so. Let's see what happens. Yeah, see, it says fine. I actually installed a Cat 5 or Cat 6 cable, new Cat 6 cable at Motor City Aquatics. So hopefully the stream's going really good and it looks crisp. Fish Fam Link, what up? So here we go. So that's a secret. The secret to shrimp is leave them the hell alone. Leave them alone. But they gotta have a tank that, you know, it's gotta be old. There's I don't know how to. Okay, when people, let's say people make like what do they do? Like make alcohol out in the woods. You know, they put all these things together and then they let it steep for days until it gets to a point, and then they cook it and then they get all this stuff and then they get it to a point. You know, it's got to get to a point. If you understand what I'm trying to say, you can't put a tank together 2 weeks later, throw shrimp in there and go, you know, what's going on? There's got to be something with these things. I don't understand. The guy at the store said that they'll have a bazillion babies. Of course he's going to say that because he wants you to buy them. And sooner or later they will. But the thing is if you don't have a seated tank, it's just not going to happen. If you got a seated tank, you got a tank that's a year old, you ain't even got to feed the suckers dang near. Seriously. I mean, literally. And they'll just have babies as they go, and you'll get excited, be like, wow, this is great. And you watch them feed on the glass and they eat, and they're just a beautiful animal to have. It's just one of the hardest things I've ever come across is it's like trying to stop smoking. It's don't feed your shrimp. It's so hard not to. It's so hard not to. For one, especially the Sulawesi's down at the end. Oh my gosh, to watch a Sulawesi eat with them little white socks he's got, cutest thing in the world. Cutest thing. It's like watching puppies play, but it's so hard. So I literally ignore it. As weird as that sounds, I just ignore it. I come over here. The only thing I do is to feed the CPDs in the morning. I'll come over here. I'll drain some live baby brine, sit it to the side, wait for it to separate. And I'll come over with my little syringe and I'll suck the baby brine out. I squirt it into the tank. I dump the rest back into there. I rinse the cup out, put it away. I check the plecos. Usually the plecos will go 2 days, 3 days. I like to squeeze them for quite a long time when I put the French cut green beans in there. I don't like to keep feeding them. I want to make them guys eat everything, every bit of it. I want them to destroy it, like they're not going to get another meal, then I feed them again. But those are mainly, they get water changes, they get fed a certain way because of what they are. But these down here, I just ignore them. I mean, I look in the baby CPD tank, watch how many every day are now swimming compared to, if there's 10 yesterday, then there'll be 26 tomorrow, and and over here, and but the shrimp tanks I literally ignore. And as bad as that sounds, I look in them, I enjoy the shrimp, everything, but when it comes to feeding them, I just ignore it. I'm just like, they don't need me. They don't need me. The other guys do. But see, I want my CPD females to, to have the best, healthiest eggs there are. I want them to be as healthy as possible. And the babies, the fry, need to grow up and be super healthy. So I feed it in there, but shrimp, it's just they eat a whole different type of stuff. Now, if you ask me, which some people will, what if you had anything to feed a shrimp? Let's say top 2 foods to ever feed a shrimp, what would they be? French cut green beans, Bacter AE. Bacter AE and French cut green beans. And I own the stuff, so I'm not blowing smoke. You know who really likes this is a Sulawesi shrimp. This will get Sulawesi's pumping out babies. I mean, but this, I feed them Bug Pro. The stuff just has, they're the first thing on here is black soldier fly larvae, then Arctic krill, omega-3 herring meal, sardine meal. I know they're meals, but kelp, spirulina, garlic, which is good for everything, marillionite clay, which is very good for shrimp, for their digestive system, and then the list goes on and on and on when it comes to this Canadian food. Incredible company, Northfin. Do you think I'm all right? Now would I just make that up, and would you say, well, he just owns one thing by him? Bam, Northfin. All of my this flake food here that I feed, this is 2 different types, same company, $40 a canister a tub. I have the tubs in there, and I put both in here, and I bust it up together, and I shake it up, and this is what I feed the CPDs. I feed it to my saltwater fish and the CPD babies. The company's incredible. There's stuff now. This stuff, the veggie, organic kelp, Arctic krill, omega-3 herring meal. It's almost the same. Sardine meal, spirulina, garlic, Montmorillonite clay, vitamin A, and then, whatever makes it, B12 supplement, whatever makes this a veggie compared to this. But the only thing I don't see on this is the soldier fly larvae, but it's, I mean, it's, I'll give one out there for Fish Tropic. You guys make great foods over there in Canada. Incredible foods. So if Northfin ever wants to sponsor me or just send me for some free stuff, that's Motor City Aquatics. But yeah, so, and I believe me, I have plenty more. It's just there. And then here's the other one. I've really not worked on it much, but my buddy at the store been doing it 30 years. Okay. He said now his favorite, and this stuff is $12 for this little jar. His favorite is this one. See if this brand new camera can get that. New Life Spectrum Grow. $11.99. And this has Antarctic krill, squid, and fish protein with soybean products for best results. Feed Spectrum exclusively. Ingredients are giant squid, whole Antarctic krill. I'm sorry, but the words are so small you can't even see them. It's like chicken scratch. And I have bifocals. So those are the top two, the first two ingredients. I can't read it fast enough to give you to fake it. What's it say? Whole wheat flour. Oh yeah, that's just filler. What kind of fish is that? I don't know. Something. It starts with an M. Fish, omega-3 fish oil, seaweed, chlorella seaweed, if I'm saying that right. We all know what I'm trying to say. Another seaweed, wakame seaweed or something, kelp, garlic, ginger, spirulina, marigold something, I don't know. And the list goes on and on. But the top two, really, giant squid and whole Antarctic krill. If that's what's in it, it sounds pretty tasty if I was a little fish. But this is very small. Very small. I don't even know. It's a dust. Well, I mean, they're little balls, but it's very small. And yeah, so for CPDs, nano fish, but that's what I'm saying. This is a guy that's been doing it 30 years. And when you open up his cupboards, he's probably got 25 foods up there. I mean, just think. If you have 150 tanks, different fish eat different foods. But or you could be like, LRB, which he's up there with the tops. He loves his Tetracolor tropical granules. Plecos love them. Shrimp love them. I find that for CPDs, it's a little big, so you crush it up in your fingers. Drop the powder in there. It's a color enhancer. My discus ate it. Everything eats it. Really, really yummy. Then I have stuff we did this food thing before. Then I have bloodworms. Look at this thing, $29.99 for bloodworms. And I don't feed it a lot. I just sprinkle a little bit on top. But the bad thing is like my water runs really fast. In the tanks, well, not super fast, but CP, it depends on the fish that you have and how they feed. CPDs aren't really top feeders. That's why they like the live baby brine, because it's in the column and they just go in and destroy it. But then, this tropical pro defense is a really good, look, 60% protein. It's a micro food. It's really, really good micro food. And it's good for nano fish like that. CPDs, the babies when they hatch, micro. That's like this. This is a micron fish food, and I use this for this is the Sarah. I use this for the CPDs when they start to swim, not any time before. When they're swimming, free swimming, this is when I start to put in just a baby amount of this, because the air bubbles breaks it. It gets in the water column. I mean, what you think is, the tip of a needle, like the head of a needle, is enough for 20, 30 fish. And then the other one, this is a size small pro defense. This is probiotic, dry yeast, multivitamin, carotenoids, and what is this? Fish meal, soy concentrate, whole wheat, de-hulled soybean meal. So there's a lot of protein, pea protein. It's a lot of fillers. I do understand, because I know what I'm reading, and when I see meal and meal and meal and meal, I do understand it, but it's the scientific stuff that I don't really understand, but they go nuts. I mean, even in a saltwater tank, I just sprinkle this on and it's the smell. And then, of course, I don't lie. I feed seaweed, I feed that. They like it. Here's a big one for the stomach, the digestive, Daphnia. It looks like wood shavings. Shake a little on top. What else do we got that's interesting? Oh, I still feed, and I feed this to fish also, is Shrimp King Baby. Oh yeah, let's not talk about green beans. But it's just, I could go on with stuff, but a lot of shrimp foods is great for fry, because it's so minute, it's so minuscule. And you go to stores, you're like, oh my God, where's this small stuff? And you don't realize that. And some of the shrimp, like that shrimp baby, oh my gosh, I put it in that tank over the clownfish, everything, they go nuts over it. So saltwater likes it, freshwater likes it, but when you get to these these itty bitty fry and stuff, it's important to have high quality, high end foods like that. What Bacter AE is made by Northfin? No, Bacter AE is not made by Northfin. It's everything else I own that's made by Northfin. Expired in April. Is it still viable to use? Yes. My Bacter AE is probably, I don't even know. It's old, because you need so little. You don't want to feed it much, maybe once a month. This is a 70-gram bottle. Here's the thing. Go online to buy it. Don't go to a store and buy it, because they never have deals. Never try. If you don't need it like in a week, never buy it at a store. Go online and get it. You'll get it like half off. It's crazy. That's how I always buy this. Made in Germany, so you gotta support that. Canadians, Germans, they're all on top of their stuff. I don't. 2005 of 2022, and I still feed it. Stuff don't go bad. You keep a lid on it, keep the plastic cover on it, like I do. This is almost empty, so I'm gonna have to get some, but the little bit I have in here will last me another year. But yeah, Bacteria E is oh my God, is it good? It's so good at creating what you need. It's kind of like a jump start for the biofilms to grow in a shrimp tank. So let's say here's a big reason that you want to have this on hand. You don't have to get 70 grand, but this is huge. If you have a tank of, let's say, 50 to 100 shrimp and they're decimating all the biofilm, then you can grow. You don't want to leave your light on 12 hours a day and turn it disgustingly green and stuff and, just to create biofilm. And you don't want to put tons of stuff in there that creates tannins and 50 leaves and all this and that. A leaf every once in a while is good for biofilms. The ones that I really notice that give off really good are those banana leaves. I mean, those banana leaves, they're pretty hot stuff. I mean, there's a lot of leaves that do really good out there. The Indian almond leaf is, probably a super close second, but the banana leaves are good. But this stuff is good for once a month because it helps create the biofilm when the shrimps are destroying it so much, they're eating so much of it. It just needs help to keep it up and keep it going a little bit. That's what this is good for. Very small amount is all you need, but do not listen. I wouldn't even go by the directions, but I'm telling you, when I had my 20 long, when I started out and I had cherry shrimp, I used to use a scooper that was not made for this. And I used to put that whole, scoop, flatten it out and shake it all. Man, I had so many shrimp in there. So many shrimp. But, some people say if you put too much in, it's bad for them, this, that, and the other. So I am not saying to scoop it in a ton. Go by way less than the directions. I mean, like a needlehead, if you only have a few shrimp. I mean, you're gonna sit and go, what a size of a needlehead? How will they ever see it? But it's not the fact of them seeing it, it's what it does. It'll get caught on a leaf or something, it'll snag, and it'll start to grow the biofilm. And when you put it in there, the little powder, it spreads out. Yeah, it's incredible stuff. It's really nice. George RB3, what's going on? How are you? So yes, expired Bacteria E. It's good. It's good to go. Anybody got expired Bacteria E they don't want? Mail it to me. Oh, miss. Look at that. No wonder I don't play basketball. Came across this today too. These are really handy. What you want a lot? These zip bags. Really good for, it's a mesh filter bag with zipper. If you want to put crushed coral in a tank, let's say, you think for some reason, if you have an issue for some reason, you got a batch of shrimp that maybe not have the right, their shells are thin or something, you notice that you bought some and they're lacking. You can always put some crushed coral in the bag, set that in there in the back, and it helps. This is very helpful. I've had this forever. This digital scale spoon. It's how I measure out a lot of stuff that I use. Another incredible product. Works great. Yeah, so all right. That's it. That is my whole spiel about why do so many people refer to Neocaridina shrimp as cherry shrimp? They're not cherry shrimp. Every Neocaridina has its own name for the color, but they are all, I am not a scientist, but they are all Davy dye. If there's a whole bunch of other names for them, hold on. Oh, shit. How did he get in there? Hold on. God damn it. All right, I'm gonna have to keep an eye out. I think I just saw a copepod in my CPD tank, in my little baby tank, which is fine. I mean, it's a bare bottom. It's the 13.5 fluval, but that's the last thing I need is a bunch of copepods. I mean, I just cleaned this tank out, so it has none. I didn't clean it. I siphoned it all the way down to about an inch, and then I before I forget, that was the other tip I wanted to give. When you're doing, if you have brand new tanks and you're worried about, man, what's going to live, what can I do to my tank to make it really good? Like we've talked about before, you can squeeze a dirty filter in there to get all the bacteria and then run it. You want to run the filtration so it'll stick into the filters that you have. It'll get in there. You can leave dirty filter pads in there, all that stuff. But one big thing that I do, like on this new tank here that I'm doing for the CPDs, since it's old, I mean, it's just started. This one here, I drained it down, but it's still, everything in it's old. I didn't clean the glass. I didn't do anything to it. All I did was siphon everything out, siphoned all the copepods out of it, filled it back up with fresh water, and then it's been sitting for like 2-3 weeks now. And I just dumped some eggs in it. But what I did on this tank is I will take water out of the 60. I'll do a water change. I did it yesterday. If I take 2 gallons out of there, all I do is siphon it out of the 60 right into there, because it's been going for so long and it's so healthy. I don't want to put fresh water in there and take a chance of that tank crashing because it hasn't been running long enough. So always keep that in mind too. But all right, everyone, I got to get off of here. It's been over an hour, which is totally fine, but we like to keep it at an hour. So thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. It's been a pleasure, and I hope I earned your subscription today. So please, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so. It shows support for the channel and lets us know, if what we're talking about helps. And, please hit the thumbs up, share it out, like it, all that cool stuff. And if you know anyone that you think would like this channel, send them on over. We're almost to 1,000, and we're working hard to get your subscriptions. So, okay, until next week, Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Stay safe. See you then. All right. See you.